Howdy YouTube, the Gear Horse here, doing another stove review today. What you'll notice here is the new MySurvivalPack.com Core Stove M4. So this is the original Core Stove, titanium, basically a wood gasifying folding box stove. And last time when we reviewed this, we realized it was just a little bit big. It's a great size, but if you wanted to use a smaller pot or anything like that, you'd have to use a grill or anything on it to be able to support it. So Chad over at My Survival Pack came up with this, which is the M4. As you can see, this is slightly smaller in the top. We already got it loaded so we can fire test it. And definitely a little smaller on the top overall, you know, because the 700 mil pot just fits right in here, which is not great, but it does fit here. We got to get this started up so you can see it. It's really comparable in size to, here's an original SoloStove, and here's an M4. That's pretty much the same size. It's comparable about where SoloStove Titan and the original Core Stove are very similar in size as well. So we're going to test that out. We're going to test it with a 700 mil just pot. So this is one that you would have that nests a Nalgene bottle in it. And then we're also going to toss this pot probably on top. And this is a pot that nests a SoloStove already. So it's basically like the power pot. It's the same pot, just without the power bottom on it. So we're going to give those things a whirl here. But we'll get this fired up and let you see how it works. We've got the Core Stove M4 here all started up. Nice open door to be able to feed everything into. The anodizing area that we left natural is getting a nice copper color to it, which I like. So this is going to get burning here for a minute. And it's smoking quite a bit, but it's pretty packed. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it actually draft up, burn down a little bit, and then we're going to start off with this pot right here, and we'll get everything going. I mean, it's working pretty well so far. So we'll keep it fed. Nice little pile of sticks sitting over here that we're working on, and a whole lot of other stove kit sitting over here on the sides to be able to play with. But we'll see how she does in a boil test. So far, Core M4 doing pretty well. We'll be right back. Alright, looks like we have everything going nice and well here. Still have some pretty wet wood, as always, because, well, everything's really squishy. So, let's get some water on there. 700 mils. Right on top. That sets up there pretty well, actually. I'm just going to reach over, get the lid. Alrighty. It is 3:15. Gonna let this do its magic. It's doing pretty well so far. Nice and hot. Ooh, look at that flame. Smoke it a little bit. But I think it'll do just fine. Alright, we'll be back in a minute. Alright, currently it's 3:25. Got a good fire going in here. It's taking a minute, as you might be able to see right there how much water is boiling out of these sticks. They're so moist. The one problem we've had is this pot fits on there just barely. I mean, it's just barely on the top of it. It's tipped and moved just a touch here and then while we were boiling, so we've just had to reposition it. So it's not as stable as I'd like, but you know, for the size, the capabilities of the stove, so far it's doing really, really well. So let's see where we are. We're getting some bubbles in the bottom there, but no rolling boil yet, so we're gonna just have to let it keep doing its thing. But as long as I keep feeding it, it's gonna keep working. It's doing quite nice right now, so hopefully that's enough fuel. I know I'm not using the rocket port. It's working great without it. You know, I like the assembly. This stove was just a little bit tighter to put together than the original. This was just a little easier to assemble than this one, I think. And in all honesty, I just decided I wanted to fire it up. I didn't want to put together any more parts and pieces, so just didn't. But it doesn't seem to really be affecting it all that much because it's burning everything I'm throwing in it. So we'll keep watching that here in the backyard burn laboratory. All right, everybody, looking at the time, it's 3:35. Okay, and if I'm hearing things correctly, we have a nice rolling boil. So we don't have a full 700 mils anymore. It did spill a little bit as we were adjusting it, since it did tip. I'll kind of walk you around here. What you'll notice is that the way it rests is just barely on some of these sides. Trying to get it centered can be a little bit of a problem, but it works pretty well. Love that patina on there. So we're gonna let this burn. You know, it's easy to feed. We've been feeding it and stoking it quite a bit while we've been doing the test. It takes no more feeding or maintenance or fuel than an original SoloStove, so that's good. And works pretty well. I mean, it gasifies even without the rocket port on there. Good Lord, look at that. Look at how much that's bubbling. Wet wood today. It's about, what, 25 minutes or so with soaked wood. Well, not soaked, but definitely not super dry. So I think overall, it's a good buy. I mean, the price is right. It's titanium. I love titanium. It anodizes up really well. Looks real sexy. And folds flat, packs easy. I think in comparison, you know, size-wise, it looks great. It's a good size difference between the original and the M4. So, yeah. Good stuff. So I think we're just gonna play around with this for a little while longer. But I would definitely say this is a buy. The MySurvivalPack.com Core Stove M4. Good deal. Thanks for watching. Gear Whores out.